So, hey there, my name is Akshay and welcome back to Geeks for Geeks. And in this video, I'll be explaining you a few more topics of MySQL, which we didn't cover in the previous videos. And until now, we have covered how do we create a database, how do we create tables, and how do we manipulate these database inside this tables. Like how do we update the values inside these tables by using the update command, and how do we insert the values inside these tables using the insert command. And in this video, we will be doing the min-max functions, the count, average, and sum, also the like functions and the wildcards. So these are all the topics that I'm going to cover in today's video. So let us open the MySQL command line so that we may start working. So for that, I'll simply click start and open MySQL command line, and let me push it to full screen and enter the password, that is root. Okay. So this is our command line, and just a minute. Okay. So I think the whole text is visible to you. Yeah. So we have created a database. First, let me show you all the databases by using the command show databases. Okay. Then we have created a database named GFG. So I'm going to use it. Use GFG. Okay. Then I'm going to show you all the tables. Okay. So the table that we created in the previous video was about school, right? So let me show you the description of this table by using the desc command. Okay. So this was our table, and let me show you the entries of this table by using the select aspect from. Okay. So this command is going to show the data of this particular table. So this was the data that we previously inserted inside this table, and we also ran a few functions inside this particular data. At the end of the video, I showed you how to uh, show the top three values of a particular table, and you can also make apply conditions to that, like you want the top three values from this table where the state is MP, right? So in that way we tried to gather the data previously. Okay, so in the similar manner, I'm gonna explain it to you more, like how you can get the data from the table in a better way. Okay, so for that we will create a table today. First let me create a table, then we'll run operations on that particular table. Okay, so okay, let me create a table whose name is let's say product. Okay, and the column name of this table will be product ID. We have to use an underscore over here, otherwise it won't take the name product ID. Okay, then the data type will be integer and the length will be, let's say, 20. Not 20, let's say 5. It's not gonna be a very long number. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be the first column, and I'm gonna name it primary key so that it may have only unique values, and it cannot accept the null values. So those were the conditions, right? Then for the next column, I will write down name of the product. Okay, so the name of the product will have a data type of varchar, and the length should be let's say 40. Then it should not be null. So these are a few constraints that I already explained you, all of the constraints in the previous videos, right? So in the similar manners, we are providing constraints over here so that when we try to insert and search data inside this table, it may be easier for us to get that data without any problem. Okay, then the next column will be supplier ID. Supplier ID. Okay, then let's set the data type to integer, and the length will be 5 only. and it should also be unique. Okay, then there will be another column that is category ID. Then the data type of it will be integer and the length will be 5 only. And category ID should also be, no, it should not be unique. Okay, so supplier ID should not be unique too as well, because there can be a single supplier for multiple products, right? So I'll have to change it, and for that I'll have to end the statement, and it's gonna show an error because I made an error in the previous line and I can't go up. Okay, so let me read. This thing can happen to you as well, and when the situation arises, you just have to rewrite the whole create command by using the previous commands that you wrote. Okay, then the name was there, then the supplier ID, and I'm gonna remove the unique over here. Okay, then for the, yeah, so this was the table columns that we created over here, and at the end I would also add another column that is price, and the data type will be integer, and let's say the length will be 15. Okay, and I'll put a semicolon, yeah, and provide not null here as well. Okay, and this should create our table. Okay, so this table is now created. I'm going to show you the description of the table by using the def command. So we'll use the desc product, and this is our table that we just created. Now I'm going to insert a few values inside this table. Okay, so I'm going to do it very quickly because I've already explained you how to insert the values inside the table. But still, if you want to know, uh, you can check out our videos, our previous video in which I told you about the insert into command. So the basic syntax was insert into table name. Table name was product, and the values you have to write down, and in the values you have to give all the values that are inside that product. Okay, so first one is the product ID. So it is an integer, so it does not require us to write inside the quotes. Let's say cheese cake. Then the next value should be supplier ID, right? So for the supplier ID I'll use 1, and the category ID I'll also use 1. Then for the price I'll use let's say 30. Okay, then after that I'll have to close this and put a semicolon to insert this row. So this row is now inserted. Now let me insert a few more rows. The product ID 2, then the product should be Lay's, cream and onion. Okay, then the, let's say the supplier ID is changed and the supplier ID is 2. Okay, then the next thing will be the category ID, right? So category ID should also be 2 because it comes under a different category, right? So, and the price I'll set it to 10. Okay, then this row will be inserted, and I'm going to insert 3 more rows. So for that I'll quickly write let's say uh, milk. Okay, and this will be provided by the first supplier ID. Okay, and it also comes under the category of first supplier ID, and let's say the price is 50. Okay, then fourth row will be inserted, and the product will be let's say pickle. Okay, and product ID should be 3, not the product ID, the supplier ID should be 3, and also the category should be 3. Then the price should be like 80 or something. And one more I'll insert, and I'll write it as 5. and the product should be Coke, and for the supplier ID I'll use 2, and let's say the supplier is 4. Okay, price is 40 rupees. Okay, then this row will also be inserted. Now we have entered enough data so that we may run queries on this data. So let me show you the whole table by using the select commands. Okay, so the select asterisk from what was the name of table? Product. Okay, so product, this table we just created by using the insert command, and okay, so the first thing that I'm going to show you is the minimum and maximum functions. Okay, so the minimum function returns the smallest value inside the selected column. Okay, so the basic syntax is select minimum, then you have to provide the column name, let's say column 1, then from table name, then you have to input a condition and press a semicolon. So this is the basic syntax of the min command. Okay, and I'm gonna use it in our this table, the product table. Okay, so for the product table I'll write select minimum of price, wait a minute, okay, from product, and I won't provide any condition or okay, so there are two values which have the supplier ID as 2, right? The second one and the fifth one. So I'll have to select the product which has the lowest price where the supplier ID is 2, right? So for that I'll use let's run it without a condition, so it may run on the whole table. Okay, so for the whole table it will show you the minimum value, that is 10, and it is for the supplier ID 2, and the product name was Lay's Cream and Onions, right? Then let me add a condition in this particular statement. Okay, so for the condition I'll write where supplier ID is 1. Okay, so this shows us the output where the minimum values are selected between these two, like the cheesecake and the milk, and the minimum value of price was of the cheesecake, right? So it's showing the minimum price of the cheesecake. Okay, then in a similar manner you can also use the maximum command. Okay, so yeah, this is how you get the minimum value. Okay, and for the maximum the syntax will be the similar, very similar to this one. The syntax will be like select maximum from column name. Okay, so from table name, right? uh, so from table name, and in the where you have to give the condition. Okay, so for the max we'll also get the same data, like select maximum of column 1. Okay, then from we have to use the product, right? So from product I'll directly use it, and wait a minute, select the maximum of price we have to write down. Okay, so select maximum price from product. So the maximum price from product is 80. That is truly correct. Okay, and the product ID was 4 and the name was pickle, right? So that's how we get the maximum product, and you can also provide a condition over here, like select maximum price from product where supplier ID is equal to 2, and once you put a semicolon at the end you can get the value where the supplier ID was 2. Okay, so the supplier ID was 2 in two cases, over in the first row, second row, or and in the last row. and the maximum price was of the last row. Okay, so that's why it's outputting 40. And in the similar manner, you can retrieve the data like I want to get the whole row. So for getting the whole row, I just found out that the maximum price is 40, right? So for me to get the whole row, I'll use the select command, select asterisk from product, where let's say price is equal to 40. Just a minute. Select asterisk from product. Okay, I didn't write the where over here. Okay. So this shows us the whole row which has the price 40, and the similar in the similar manner you can get the product from the table, like you're working on a huge database and you want to get the maximum price, and for that you can use simply this command to get the maximum price, and then you can retrieve the whole row by using this command like select asterisk from product name from the table where the price is 40. Okay, and that's how you use the max command. Okay, this was it for the minimum maximum commands. Yeah. So the next thing is MySQL count, average, and sum. Okay. So the basic syntax of count is, wait a minute, count. Okay. So the basic syntax of count is, first let me tell you what this count function does. Okay. Then so the count function returns the number of rows that matches a specified criteria. Okay. So it shows you the number of rows that follows a particular condition. That's what this count is used for. Okay, then the basic syntax is select count of column 1. Okay, then from you have to write down the table name, then where you have to give the condition. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of the count command, and I'm going to use the count command in our previous table. So for that, let me show you the whole table by using the select command. Select asterisk from product. Okay, so this is the table that we just created, and I'm going to use the count command to know that how many rows are there, how many products are belonging to the supplier ID 1, right? So I'm gonna know that how many rows are present which has the supplier ID as 1. For that, I'll write select count, and inside the count I'm gonna write uh, supplier ID. Okay, from product. Okay, and there is no condition over here because what condition can you provide over here? It's pretty simple and the data is pretty simple. But when the data gets complex, you may have to provide more conditions to get the more specific data. Okay, so wait a minute. Count does not accept. Okay, select count from supply. Wait a minute. I have not. I have provided space over here. Okay, from product. So you don't have to give the space over here like I've done here. Otherwise, it's gonna show an error like this. Okay. So this is how you show the supplier ID. Count the supplier ID. Okay. And this command basically is used to the number of rows that matches a specific criteria. So I have not given a specific criteria, like I have to give the condition. So wait a minute, I have not given the condition. So let me try it again by using the condition from product where it's equal to 1. Again, I've given the space over here. So it is showing us an error. Wait. Then you just a minute. Okay. Select count of supplier ID from product where supplier ID is 1. Okay, so this shows us the count as 2 because there are two rows in which the supplier ID is 1. Okay, so this was our condition that the supplier ID is 1, right? So in a similar manner, you can get the number of rows which have a particular value, just like I've done in this command. And this is how you retrieve the data using the count function. Okay, then the next function is the average function. So the next function is average, and average function is used to return the average value of our numeric column. Okay, so the what will be the average value? How do we calculate the average value? So for calculating the average value, we have to add all the values and divide it by the uh, number of values. Okay, so let's say I want to get the average of price. So for that, I'll use first. Let me tell you the syntax of this average. So you just have to write down AVG and you have to provide the column name over here. Okay, then from table name, then you have to give a condition. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of average command. Okay, and this is how you use to get the average value. So I'm going to use it in our table by using the select average of price from table name. So the table name was product, right? So I'm going to get the average price from product. So the average price is 42. And how do we get to this conclusion? So select asterisk from product. Okay. So these are all the prices that we inserted inside the table, right? So we have to add all these prices and divide it by 5. So what will be the output? The output will be for 42, right? So that is the average. That's how we get the average of a particular column. Okay. Then it is very useful in when you are working on big data and when you want to get the average, like what are all the values inside this data. So you just want a glimpse of the data and you want the average of data. Okay, so that for that you can use the average command, average function of MySQL. Okay, then there is some function. So for the sum function, the basic syntax will be the similar as the previous two commands, like the average and the count one. So I'll have to write down the select sum of okay. So I'll just have to write down the select sum from, and inside the bracket you have to give the column name, right? From table name. Then after that you have to provide where and condition. Okay. So this is the basic syntax of sum, and this is used to get the, as the name suggests, it is used to get the sum of the particular column. Like in the previous table, if we try to run the select sum command, sum of prices from product. So this is the sum of all the prices of the product. Okay. So these were the prices that we inserted inside this table, and the sum comes out to be 210. And if we run the average command, then this 210 is divided by 5. That gives us 42, and that is the average. And we can use the count to uh, know how many rows have a particular value. Okay, so that's how we use the count, sum, and average functions, right? Okay, then after that, I'll show you the like operators. Okay, so in MySQL, when we want to retrieve the data from a table, like there are multiple names over there, and there's a huge database, and you want to get the names who starts from a particular letter, like uh, a lot of names starts from A, right? So in the similar manner, if you want to get the data for all the people whose name starts with A or whose name ends with some particular character, so for that we use the MySQL like operator. Okay. So like operator is used in where clause to search for a specific pattern in a column. There are two wildcards often used in conjunction with the like operator. those two wildcards are percentage and underscore. Okay, and these two signs. Well, first, let me write down what I'm gonna tell you right now. Okay, wait. So I'm talking about the like operator. Okay, so what does this like operator do? So it is used in where clause to specify a specific pattern inside a column, and there are two wildcards inside this like operator, and those two wildcards are, the first one is percentage, and percentage is used to represent 0, 1 or multiple characters. Okay, so 0, 1 or multiple character. And the second wildcard is the underscore sign, and it is used to represent one single character. Okay, so they can also be used in combinations, and we try to use these two we can say these two wildcards to retrieve the data from the table by using the like operator. Okay, so the basic syntax of this like operator is select column 1, column 2, and in the similar manner you can select any number of columns from table name, and then you can give where, and you have to give a column over here, and like you have to give the pattern. And for the pattern, uh, I'll show you various types of pattern. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of like operator, and we will explore it more in the next video. uh, in this video, I have explained you about the basic use of this like operator, and you must remember these things that I just told you. The like operator, there are two wildcards, right? The percentage and the minus one. And we have also learned about the uh, maximum, minimum, and the count functions, and the average and the sum. Okay, so these are all the things that I covered in this video, and I'll cover the rest of them in the next video, and I'll show you the use of like command in the next video. Okay, first, at the end, I would also like to show you something. Like if you are having queries or related to anything inside the SQL, you can either visit our channel and comment down in any SQL video, or this next thing you can do is you can search for Geeks for Geek courses, and this is the website that comes up, and there are multiple courses available over here that you can buy. And you can also search for courses over here like SQL, and you can also buy this course, and in this course you will get one-to-one mentorship from our mentors, and it will be really helpful for you, and all your doubts will be solved very easily. And yeah, so that's how you can contact us, and you can also comment your queries in the comment section, and I'll answer all those queries. So do comment down this video and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.